You're not old, but you're not as young as you think. Somewhere between the freedom of your 20s and the pressure of your 30s. Something shifts. Life gets quieter on the outside but louder on the inside. And if you're not paying attention, you'll wake up one day, successful on paper, yet completely lost in your own story. This video is not here to scare you. It's here to wake you up. Because 30 isn't the finish line. It's not the point where everything falls into place. It's the threshold, the beginning of real growth, real identity, real direction. And if you step into it blind, without knowing what truly matters, you risk spending the next decade chasing things that never belonged to you in the first place. So don't turn 30 without pausing, without asking yourself, what am I doing? And why? Don't turn 30 still living for approval, still stuck in someone else's version of success, still sacrificing your health, your peace, your truth just to keep up. Because the truth is, this life moves fast, and the older you get, the more expensive every wrong decision becomes, not just in money, but in time, energy, clarity, and peace of mind. This isn't about fear, it's about freedom, and freedom starts with truth. So in the next 90 minutes, we're going to walk through 7 truths that could shift the course of your next 10 years. Not advice, not cliches, but the kind of clarity people wish they had before it was too late. And the first truth, the one that sits at the foundation of everything, is this. If you don't know yourself, you'll spend your entire life becoming someone you're not. Truth 1. Know yourself or stay lost forever. If you don't know who you are, you will become who the world tells you to be. You'll chase titles you don't care about. You'll date people you're not aligned with. You'll accept jobs that drain your soul. You'll wake up at 35 wondering why life feels heavy, even when it looks fine on the surface. Because you never stop to ask, who am I really? Most people don't avoid self-discovery because they're lazy. They avoid it because they're afraid of what they'll find. They've spent years performing, pretending, pleasing, and underneath all of that, there's silence. There's confusion. There's pain. But that silence is where your power lives. That confusion is the beginning of clarity. Knowing yourself isn't just some philosophical luxury. It's survival, in a world constantly trying to sell you who you should be. The greatest rebellion is to know exactly who you are and stand firm in it. What do you value? Not what people expect. Not what you were raised to believe, but what you truly value. What drains you? What gives you energy? What are the patterns you keep repeating? The wounds you haven't healed? The dreams you stopped speaking out loud? If you can't answer those questions, then every choice you make is a gamble. Every relationship is a guess. Every year passes without alignment. And alignment is what gives life meaning. You don't need to have everything figured out, but you owe it to yourself to be honest. Honest about what hurts. Honest about what excites you. Honest about what no longer fits. Because self-awareness is the foundation of self-respect. And self-respect is the beginning of a powerful life. Take time to sit with yourself. No phone. No noise. No distractions. Just you and the truth. Write. Reflect. Ask. Observe. Not just once. Make it a rhythm. The more you know yourself, the more powerful every yes and every no becomes. The more peace you'll feel when others disagree with your path, because it's your path. If you want to build a life that's real, one that doesn't collapse the moment pressure hits, then build it on identity, not imitation. Because when you truly know who you are, you stop chasing approval, you stop copying, you stop shrinking, you start building, you start protecting, you start living with alignment. And that's the point, not to impress people, but to be you. Fully, freely, unapologetically. Because no matter what goals you set, what career you chase, what love you find, if you're not living from your truth, none of it will ever feel like yours. Truth 2. Don't live someone else's life. Once you forget who you are, it becomes far too easy to live someone else's life. And it doesn't always happen loud. Sometimes, it's quiet. You take a job you don't love because it makes your parents proud. You stay in a relationship that doesn't feel right because everyone says it looks perfect. You follow a path because it's safe, because it's what people expect, because it's easier than starting over. And one day, you wake up, not in crisis, but in quiet misery, a low, dull ache that says, "This isn't who I am." But by then, you've built a life around pretending, and it's hard to burn down a house that everyone else admires. Here's the truth. No one else has to live your life but you. Not your friends, not your family, not your Instagram followers. You, only you. So why are you letting other people make your choices? Living someone else's life is one of the greatest tragedies of our generation. We've been conditioned to measure success by appearances, job titles, salaries, highlight reels, timelines, but all of that is noise. And if you don't silence it, you'll never hear your own voice. You weren't born to play a role in someone else's script. You weren't born to follow a timeline that was never yours to begin with. There is no right age to get married, no perfect career path, no single definition of success. The only life worth living is the one that feels like your own. But here's the part they don't tell you. Choosing your life often means disappointing others. It means having hard conversations. It means saying no to things that look good on the outside but feel wrong on the inside. It means walking away from comfort to build something that's real. And that's not easy, but it is necessary. Because if you don't choose your life, someone else will choose it for you. And they'll do it with good intentions, with love, with logic, but that doesn't make it right. You have to be brave enough to ask, is this what I want? Or is this just what I've been told to want? Maybe it's time to rewrite the rules. Maybe it's time to let go of the pressure to perform. Maybe it's time to trade the approval of others for peace within yourself. You get one life. One. Don't waste it chasing a version of success that was never designed for you. Don't waste it trying to win a race you never wanted to run. The truth is, your life doesn't have to make sense to anyone else. It just has to feel honest to you. And once you start living from that place, that raw, real, honest place, everything begins to change. Not instantly, not perfectly, but fully, authentically, powerfully. Because for the first time, you're not acting, you're living. Truth 3. Money isn't everything, but it's the foundation. You can live authentically, you can follow your own path, but if your finances are broken, everything else starts to crack beneath your feet. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. Because we love to say, money isn't everything. And that's true, but it's also incomplete. Money isn't the goal, but it is the ground. It's the floor beneath your freedom, the oxygen of your options. It's what allows you to say no to the job that drains you. It's what helps you walk away from toxic situations. It's what gives you time, the most valuable currency of all. So no, money won't buy happiness, but struggling to pay rent, drowning in debt, and stressing over every bill will slowly drain the joy from everything else. You can't focus on purpose when you're stuck in survival. You can't dream clearly when your next paycheck decides whether you eat. If you're in your 20s or early 30s, this is the moment to face it. Get real, get honest, learn what you were never taught. Because no one's coming to rescue your bank account. No one's going to build wealth for you. And no one's going to stop you from wasting your most valuable years thinking that it's too early to care. It's not. Start learning. Read the books. Understand the difference between income and wealth. Stop chasing shiny objects and start building real assets. You don't need to become a millionaire tomorrow. You just need to take control today. Budgeting, saving, investing, saying no to short-term pleasure for long-term power. And don't let ego get in the way. Don't buy things to impress people who aren't even paying attention. You don't need validation. You need a foundation. Because money is not about luxury. It's about leverage. It's about buying back your time, your focus, your peace. It's about creating choices. And the earlier you start, the stronger your position becomes. If you're behind, it's okay. Forgive yourself, but don't stay there. Take one step. Start today. Start small. But don't ignore it, because money won't solve all your problems, but it will give you the power to solve them without fear. This is the season to plant the seeds, to take your future seriously, to stop outsourcing your financial freedom to luck, chance, or someday, because someday never comes unless you make it now. Handle your money, or your money will handle you. Truth 4. Discipline will take you further than talent or passion. Everyone loves to talk about passion. Everyone admires talent, but the people who actually get things done, the ones who build something that lasts, they are not always the most gifted, and they are definitely not the most excited. They are the most disciplined. Discipline is what shows up when passion runs out. Discipline is what drives you forward when your feelings tell you to stop. Discipline doesn't care how you slept. It doesn't care how motivated you feel. It only asks one question: did you do what needed to be done? The truth is, passion is a spark. It ignites the fire. But discipline is the fuel that keeps it burning. And without it, you will burn out. You'll start 100 things and finish none. You'll be driven by mood swings, trends, distractions, and then wonder why nothing in your life feels solid. Talent will give you a head start, but if you stop when things get hard, you'll lose to the one who keeps going every time, because consistency beats intensity. Always. The strongest people aren't the loudest. They're not the flashiest. They're the ones who wake up, show up, and put in the work when no one's watching. They build rituals, not excuses. They build systems, not stories. Discipline means doing it when it's boring, when it's hard, when it's inconvenient, when no one claps, when the results haven't shown up yet. Discipline is how you prove to your future self that you can be trusted, that you won't abandon yourself again. This isn't about hustle culture. This isn't about grinding yourself into the ground. This is about respect, self-respect. Because the most powerful form of self-love isn't bubble baths or motivational quotes. It's keeping promises to yourself. When you say you're going to wake up early, and you do. When you say you're going to get healthy, and you train. When you say you're going to write, build, learn, invest, and you follow through. That builds something inside of you. Quietly, day by day. Confidence, focus, momentum. You don't need to be extreme. You just need to be consistent. You don't need motivation every morning. You need a plan. You need boundaries. You need to stop negotiating with your lesser self. Because discipline doesn't restrict your freedom, it creates it. The freedom to live with clarity, to execute with confidence, to build a life that reflects who you really are. And that starts with one choice. Not tomorrow. Now. Truth 5. Time is not unlimited, and you're not still young forever. Time is the most expensive thing you own, and the most dangerous thing about it is this: you only realize its value when it's already gone. In your 20s, it feels like you have forever. You keep telling yourself, "I've got time." You push things to later. You delay the hard conversations, the scary moves, the habits you know you should build, because tomorrow always feels available. But then, one day, you look up, and 5 years are gone. 10, and the dreams you were going to get around to are now collecting dust next to responsibilities, regrets, and routines that no longer serve you. Let me be clear. You are not too late, but you are not as early as you think. You are not still young forever. That phrase, that comfort zone, is a lie that keeps people passive, complacent, distracted, and before you know it, your best years, the years full of possibility, energy, curiosity, were spent scrolling, overthinking, pleasing others, and waiting for the perfect time. There is no perfect time, only now. The longer you wait to become who you know you can be, the harder it gets to close that gap. Not impossible, but harder. Because time doesn't stop while you figure things out. It keeps moving. And if you're not intentional, it will drag you with it into a life you didn't choose, didn't design, and now don't know how to escape from. You don't need to panic, but you do need urgency. Not fear, focus. Not stress, strategy. Because you still have time. But only if you stop wasting it. Audit your days. Where does your time really go? What habits eat your hours? Who or what gets your best energy? And are those things moving you toward the life you actually want? People talk about spending time. But no, you invest it. And just like money, you can waste it on what's easy now. Or plant it where it multiplies later. Time invested in your health, your mindset, your growth, your craft. That's time that pays you back for life. So stop saying, someday. Start saying, now. Not, when I'm ready. You get ready by doing. Not, when it's perfect. You grow through the messy middle. The goal isn't to rush, it's to realize. Realize that the clock is ticking. Not to scare you, but to wake you up. Because if you wait until you feel like it, until you're completely confident, until life gives you permission, you'll wait forever. And the cost won't be money. It'll be you. The version of you that never came to life because you never gave it the time it needed. So start. Use what you have. Do what you can. You don't need 10 years. You need this one. And you still have it. Truth 6. Your career is not a destination. It's a growth journey. You spend over 1/3 of your life working. So if you think your career doesn't matter, you're lying to yourself. But here's what most people get wrong. Your career is not a destination. It's not some fixed point on the map that, once reached, unlocks happiness, peace, and purpose. It's a journey, a vehicle, a mirror that reflects how much you've grown, or how long you've stayed stuck. We've been taught to chase titles, promotions, approval. The question we hear growing up is always, what do you want to be? Never, who do you want to become? But that's the better question. That's the real question. Because if you focus only on the outcome, the job, the salary, the corner office, you might get there and still feel empty. And that's not failure. That's feedback. That's your soul asking for something deeper. Growth. Your career should stretch you, challenge you, teach you. It should evolve as you evolve. Sometimes that means climbing. Sometimes that means pivoting. Sometimes that means starting over. Not because you're weak, but because you've outgrown who you were when you started. Don't stay in a role just because it's safe. Don't stay on a path just because it makes sense on paper. If it's costing your energy, your creativity, your mental health, it's too expensive. The goal is not to impress people with your job title. The goal is to align your work with who you're becoming. Your career is an ecosystem, not a ladder. Some seasons are for building. Some are for learning. Some are for rest, reflection, reinvention. And every single one is valid, as long as you're not on autopilot. There's no shame in change. No shame in walking away from something that once served you but no longer fits. The real mistake is staying just because you're afraid of what people will say. This is your life. They don't have to live with your decisions, you do. So invest in your skills. Expand your toolbox. Follow your curiosity. Not every job has to be your passion, but every job can teach you something that serves your purpose. Work isn't just about making a living. It's about building a life you're proud of, a life that reflects your values, not just your resume. So stop asking, am I behind? Start asking, am I growing? Stop asking, is this enough? Start asking, is this me? Because your career is not your identity, it's your instrument. And how you play it shapes the rhythm of your entire life. Truth 7. Protect your physical and mental health. It's irreplaceable. You can have purpose. You can have money. You can have discipline, direction, and a career that lights you up. But if your body breaks down, if your mind burns out, if you're constantly running on fumes, what's the point? Let's stop pretending health is optional. Let's stop acting like sleep is a weakness, or that burnout is a badge of honor. Because the truth is simple. Without health, nothing else works. You can't lead with clarity if your mind is fogged by anxiety. You can't show up for your goals if your body is exhausted. You can't enjoy your life if you're constantly battling yourself just to make it through the day. And no, self-care is not selfish. It's survival. It's strategy. It's the smartest long-term investment you'll ever make. Start with the basics. Sleep, water, movement, nutrition. They sound simple, and they are, but most people ignore them chasing success. Until their body forces them to stop. Until stress becomes illness. Until anxiety becomes paralysis. Until they realize that what they've built externally is falling apart internally. Then there's your mental health. The one we're all told to stay strong about. But real strength isn't pretending you're fine. Real strength is asking for help. Real strength is slowing down when you need to. Real strength is telling the truth when your soul is tired. You are not a machine. You're a human being. You feel. You get overwhelmed. You break down. And you heal. But only if you allow yourself the space to do so. You don't need to do everything. You need to do what matters. And that includes taking care of the one person who has to live with you for the rest of your life. You. Set boundaries. Say no when your body says enough. Take walks. Breathe deeply. Sit in silence. Talk to someone. Journal. Meditate. Whatever helps you come back to center. Protect it like your life depends on it. Because it does. Mental clarity. Physical energy. Emotional stability. These aren't luxuries. They're your foundation. And without them, success becomes a weight instead of a win. So if you've spent years grinding, performing, achieving, and you feel like something's still missing, maybe it's not something out there. Maybe it's you, in here, asking to be heard again. Listen, because no matter what you build in this life, you only get one mind, one body, one you. Protect it, nurture it, respect it. Everything else can wait. This is irreplaceable. You've just walked through 7 truths that could shape the next decade of your life. Not theory, not cliche, but clarity. The kind that comes from looking honestly at who you are, where you're going, and what actually matters. You don't need to master everything today, but you do need to choose. Will you keep drifting? Or will you start building? Will you live by default? Or will you live by design? You're not too late. You're right on time, if you begin now. So don't just turn 30. Turn awake. Turn aware. Turn into the person you were always meant to become. Your real life starts here.